this is Rolling Fire Glassworks Studio, which is across the street from Rolling Fire Glassworks retail store in Endicott, New York. My wife and I own the place together, and I do all the glass work, and she does everything else. I was running a store in Fort Collins, Colorado called Higher Education, and I was just meeting a lot of glassblowers, and finally met Jason Hedman, who had heard that I bought some equipment and just really took me under his wing. And I mean, I owe it all to him, really. He really showed me how to get it done, and you know, the means of doing it proper, and it showed me a lot of important stuff. So yeah, I talk to him at least once a week, and our work is definitely kind of coincided. I use some of his prep works I use in my work. Yeah, Jason's work has definitely influenced my work, and his attitude has definitely influenced me quite a bit. My main goal is to create something, you know, it doesn't matter if it's going to be a pipe or if it's going to be an ornament or if it's going to be a pendant. Creating, to me, just really is the life of it, and I just get excited when the flame comes on and the glass is in my hand, and you know, the possibilities are pretty open. You know, they're all defined by my skill sets, which I'm trying to constantly broaden. So it's an exciting prospect for me, especially when I see what other people are doing and what's possible, and you know, in comparison to what I'm doing, and it gets me really excited for the future and for, you know, what's to come. I started in 1999, and I had a full-time job until I would say 2003, somewhere in that neighborhood, when I finally decided that I was ready to kind of go off on my own and do my own thing, and struggled for a little while in Colorado, and you know, it picked up my skills pretty well, but decided that coming back to the East Coast was the right move for me, and you know, we ended up opening the retail store here, and yeah, it's that's kind of where we've been planted ever since.
I began to float. Up and away from my body. Wonderful feeling.
Jason Hedman opening the door to me was, well, like, people couldn't even believe that it was happening, and you know, and I think it was really more because we had become kind of personal friends that he kind of decided, you know, I wouldn't mind having this guy around the studio, and you know, and I think that's, you know, was his mentality behind it, because he could open the door to a lot of people, and he decided, I guess, to open it to me. So the fact that people have started talking about what they're doing just in itself is way bigger than people realize. People who are just starting out right now and are able to look at Glasscraft's class schedule and see Kabuki one month and Mickelson the next month and Salt the next month and Joe Peters and Outlaw the next month, like, they don't realize that this is a fantasy from 10 years ago. That when I started, like, the only classes that you could take were a goblet class, or, you know, like Paramore would teach a goblet class or something, you know, and that's great and absolutely gonna give you skills that you need, but not to make a pipe. They have nothing to do with making a pipe. You have to completely translate that information into a different medium and into, you know, like, they're doing these big flares, and you know, that's awesome, but it's not really gonna do much for you for making a beautiful functional pipe, unless it's going to have a goblet on top of it, maybe, So just the fact that this information is out there and people are willing to share now, I think really shows the growth in the community. I hope that the hierarchy, things kind of stay somewhat in place, that, people respect the artists that have put their time in and that are making the quality of product that you're not going to get out of a one-year glass blower or out of somebody who's just doing it for money, which you're going to see a lot too. When you have a revolution like this, you're going to see a lot of people who just see dollar signs. And, there was no money when I got involved. So, dollar signs were a dream in 20 years. It's beyond cool. I have a wife and 2 kids and 10 animals, and my wife is able to stay at home with my kids and take care of them and homeschool them, and our store is across the street. I couldn't imagine putting myself in a more positive situation for myself. I can take a 10-minute break and go in and hug my kid and come back out and get to work. So, the fact that I can do this for a living, I can't even think of doing something else. And my parents think it's phenomenal. The fact that I didn't have to change Tommy to be, a successful person, which is what I think they always assumed was going to have to happen at some point, was that Tommy was going to have to grow up and Tommy was going to have to make some changes in order to fit in to, some niche in society. And it turns out that there was one for me, and I just had to find my people, and here we are, So, now that I've found my people, it's not that hard, it's actually pretty fun. So, I go to Vegas a couple times a year. 4, glass blowing adventures, and Prism next month. I can't stop smiling right now.